I'm Shay.
I'm Joe.
And today on Like Coach Sports, we have NHL free agency. So we're going to go through all the big names that were signed and traded on NHL free agency. So we're going to start with one trade that didn't happen on free agency, but leading up to free agency, and it was at the draft. And that was between the Nashville Predators and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Surprisingly, Pittsburgh traded James Neal to the Nashville Predators for Patrick Hornqvist and Nick Spaulding. I just can't believe it. James Neal is an elite level talent. 40-goal scorer, and Pittsburgh just ships him out. Hornqvist is still a very good player, more well-rounded than James Neal, but he's only a 30-goal scorer. And Spaulding, I guess, was just another player Pittsburgh added depth because they traded another player later in free agency.
Yeah, pretty much. James Neal, that was a tough one to trade, I think. Hornqvist and Spaulding, you said they're going to be depth players. Hornqvist, he'll add some scoring touch. But yeah, James Neal, they got nothing for him, pretty much. Next trade was Jason Spezza and Ludwig Carlson heading out of Ottawa to Dallas for Alex Chason, young rookie kid Alex Guptill, and Nicholas Paul. They also had a second-round pick in 2015. Wasn't enough.
I don't think it was enough neither. Now the Dallas Stars are absolutely loaded with Spezza, Sagan, and Jamie Benn. But, oh wait, his buddy from Ottawa followed him over to Dallas, Alex Hemsky. So the Dallas Stars absolutely loaded up. Their top six is absolutely scary.
It is scary, and if Spezza stays healthy, it's going to be really scary.
Spezza, Hemsky, Valerie Nichushkin, Tyler Sagan, Jamie Benn, and Eric Cole or Cody Eakin on the second line. My goodness gracious. The West better buckle up because the Dallas Stars are definitely on a tear. Now we'll go to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh Penguins obviously lost out on defenseman Matt Niskanen, so they do the next best thing and go get the next available best defenseman, Christian Ehrhoff, and sign him to a 1-year, $4 million deal, which is good for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Ehrhoff's a proven veteran defenseman, knows how to play defense, very offensive. He'll fit right in with Pittsburgh.
And then the Edmonton Oilers went and spent a whole lot of money to get some defensive and offensive help. Benoit Pouliot, 5-year deal. Maybe they might have overspent a little bit, but he's going to have some skill, some speed, and definitely some hitting power. Mark Fane, he's going to help defensively in a team that really needs a lot of defensive help.
And next we have Milan McCulloch staying in Ottawa with a 3-year deal worth $12 million after losing Spezza. Ottawa did not want to lose one of their other top players, so they made sure they signed McCulloch so he can stay in Ottawa.
St. Louis is dealing with a huge problem in the middle. Derek Roy, free agent. They were going to lose a whole lot of players, but they realized they needed someone to fill in, so they go out and get the best player out of free agency, Paul Stastny, and sign him to a 4-year, $28 million deal. And he is going to look great alongside David Backes and that St. Louis Blues offense.
That is crazy. So 2 top centers going from to the West. St. Louis with Backes and Stastny down the middle. Now Dallas with Sagan and Spezza. The West better buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
It is.
And next we have the New Jersey Devils going to Calgary to get Michael Camilleri from a 5-year, $25 million deal. And New Jersey, after losing Kovalchuk, has not had a goal scorer, a 30-goal scorer. So I think this is a good deal for New Jersey to bring in Camilleri to solve their offensive problem. Because Camilleri may be 30 years old, but he can still put the puck in the net.
Oh, of course he can. And Dave Bolland signs from Toronto to Florida, 5 years, $27.5 million, $5.5 million a year. And I really don't know what Florida was thinking. A third, fourth line center, and they're going to give him $5.5 million. I know he had 12 points in like 28 games in Toronto, but that's just, you can't tell a player by that. Brutal sign.
Crazy by Florida. That was nuts. And then we have the Dan Boyle going from the New York Islanders to the New York Rangers on a 2-year deal worth $9 million, so $4.5 million. $4.5 million a year. Sorry, I can't talk. That's good for the New York Rangers. A proven veteran defenseman to help out these young kids. And Dan Boyle still has it. He may be old, but he still got it. And Dan Boyle can still put the puck in the net. So I think that's a very good signing for the New York Rangers. Next, we have my team, the Calgary Flames, going to Toronto and getting Mason Raymond on a 3-year deal worth $9.5 million, which works out to $3.16 million a year. And this is good signing for Calgary because Mason Raymond's a veteran forward, can put the puck in the net. You're only looking around 15, 20 goals, but that's a lot of depth scoring. And the thing about Mason Raymond is he's very, very fast. And Calgary needs a lot of speed. So he'll fit nicely in Calgary.
And then Florida wasn't done yet. After getting Boland, they went after UC Jokinen out of Pittsburgh, and they did a very smart thing going after UC Jokinen. Very good depth player. I know they gave him the $4 million a year, which he is worth, and he is going to do great, and he's going to fit in well with the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, that's not too bad. A veteran goal scorer, looking about 30 goals a year from Pittsburgh, maybe only 20, 25, but Florida needs offense, and he can definitely fill that void in offense.
Yep.
And then next we have Tom Gilbert going from the Florida Panthers to the Montreal Canadiens, which is very good for Montreal. After losing out on...
Josh Georges?
Yes, thank you. Josh Georges, they go out and sign Tom Gilbert to a 2-year deal worth $5.6 million, which works out to $2.8 million. And Tom Gilbert is still a very good defenseman at 30 years old. He can chip in offensively, and he's very steady at the back end. So that's pretty good for Montreal. You lose... What's his name again?
Josh Georges.
Josh Georges, and you bring in Tom Gilbert. Thank you.
And the next one, we move out west, and yes, one deal that I think is one of the best deals of the day, Vancouver getting a very solid goaltender. And they didn't overpay, they gave him what he was worth. And Ryan Miller is going to come into Vancouver, and he's going to improve that team huge. And it's going to be huge for the goalies. Eddie Lack and Jakob Markstrom are going to get to learn from one of the best in the game.
That's definitely true. So, talk about crazy goaltender crisis in Vancouver. 8 months ago, having Luongo and Corey Schneider,
Trading both of them away.
to now having Ryan Miller, Jakob Markstrom, and
Eddie Lack.
Crazy. And then now we have the biggest surprise of free agency. Thomas Vanek going from Montreal to Minnesota. Not really. That was pretty much a given. 3-year deal worth $19.5 million, $6.5 million. Thomas Vanek's an absolute pure goal scorer. He's going to be playing with Zach Parise, Jason Pominville, Mikko Koivu, so maybe he can rekindle some of the Buffalo magic with Jason Pominville. And then next, my team again, Calgary Flames, finally solved their shaky goaltending problem with going to get Jonas Hiller from Anaheim on a 2-year deal worth $9 million, which works out to $4.5 million a year, and that's good for Calgary. Steady veteran goaltending. Kerry Ramo and Johnny Ortio were okay last year, but not the same as Hiller. Hiller is going to make Calgary Flames a better team, and maybe a team for everybody to watch out for.
Absolutely, I agree with that one. Hiller's going to improve that team hugely. Next, we go to Colorado. Joe McGinley signing for big money. $5.3 million a year, 3-year, $16 million deal. McGinley was once a very good 30-goal scorer, 60 to 70-point guy. Right now, though, he's hitting the end of his career, and his points are going to go down. And I really don't know what he was thinking. If he really wants to go win a Stanley Cup, he should have signed for less money, just like Brad Richards did, and go to a winning team like LA.
Could have went to LA, or he could have went to Chicago, or he could have stayed in Boston. McGinley's not really... He might fit well in Colorado, but Colorado's young, and they're really fast. And McGinley is not fast as he once was. But he's a good veteran leader for Colorado, so maybe that's what they were thinking. But next, we have Martin Havlat going from San Jose to New Jersey on a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. And Martin Havlat just hasn't been the same player as he once used to be. I think he's kind of washed up, but he still has offensive talent, but just not the same. And I think what New Jersey was thinking, maybe to put alongside Camilleri that can spark some offense, and maybe spark some Czech offense with his buddy, Patrick Elias. So that's what I think New Jersey was thinking when they were going out to get Martin Havlat.
Next, we have Matt Molson going from Minnesota back to Buffalo.
Back to Buffalo. There's a surprise.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me. I thought he'd go back to New York. But 5 years, $5 million a year, $25 million. Good deal for Matt Molson. He's going to go back to a team that he knows pretty well. And I think he'll have success there. 30-goal scorer. And he's going to do good. He's going to do good.
Yeah, he'll be good with those young kids that they're bringing up too. Veteran leader, proven player.
Yep.
So next we have the Rangers once again. This time Brian Ball going out of New York to Tampa Bay on a 3-year, $6 million deal. And this makes Tampa Bay a lot bigger and a lot stronger. And the New York Rangers lose Brad Richards and Brian Ball. And really, what have they done to replace those guys? Nothing. Sitting ducks. I don't understand.
They updated their defense a little bit, but they haven't done anything with their offense.
So you lose Brian Boyle's 10 goals, right?
10 goals, yeah.
And then you lose Brad Richards 20 goals, so you lost 30 goals. And what have you done to replace that offense?
Nothing. So I don't know what the Rangers were thinking.
So they only have Stepan, Rick Nash, and Marty St. Louis on offense pretty much right now.
Yep, and but I don't know what they're going to do from a trade perspective, but if they do a trade, they're going to have to give one of those guys up.
Probably,
so,
maybe.
No matter what they do, they lost.
Maybe they were trying to get a free agent and the price was too high, but who knows.
Next we have, Kyle Quincy staying with the Detroit Red Wings at $8.5 million for a 2-year deal. Now, Kyle Quincy is a very good defenseman. I'll give him that.
You bet you.
The points, they might not be there anymore, but he can still help out defensively. So the deal is good. The money is not.
I think they overpaid him just a little bit. Quincy maybe 2-3 years ago. Yeah, he's probably worth 4.25, but getting into that almost latter part, he's 27, 28. 2 years he'll be 30.
Exactly.
Like you said again, very good defenseman. So good for the Detroit Red Wings. Nice stay-at-home defenseman. Next, we have the biggest defenseman to go. Washington Capitals signed defenseman Matt Niskanen from the Pittsburgh Penguins to a grand total $40.25 million over 7 years, which works out to $5.75 million a year. And they also took Brooks Orpik from Pittsburgh. So Washington absolutely snatches and grabs Pittsburgh's defensive core. Unbelievable. I think that's good for Washington. Brooks Orpik, a very good defensive defenseman, which Washington needs a lot of help with, and Matt Niskanen proved that he's a number 1-2 defenseman in the NHL on a good team. I think that's a little bit much though, but it's free agency. You're going to have to overpay.
I think this opens a door in Washington. I think this is finally maybe Carl Alsner or maybe even Mike Green finally might get out of Washington.
Maybe, but
due to this.
Their defense is looking pretty good with Orpik, Green, Carlson, Niskanen, and Alsner.
And they got a lot of defensive prospects.
A lot of defensive prospects
so,
coming.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And then we head out to Nashville, where the Winnipeg Jets lose Olli Jokinen, the center spot to Nash. A good deal, 1 year, $2.5 million. And Jokinen, he'll be a very good second-line center, bring in leadership, and he'll help out that young team out there in Nashville.
Yeah, that's for sure. Winnipeg was probably happy to get rid of him. He didn't really do nothing in Winnipeg. That opens the door for somebody else in Winnipeg to take a spot. That's why that's why they probably signed Matthew Perreault to a 3-year deal.
$9 million deal.
$9 million deal because Jokinen was out the door. So next we have the New York Islanders loading up on 2 forwards. First, they take Nikolai Kulemin from Toronto Maple Leafs on a 4-year deal worth $16.75 million, which works out to $4.1875 million a year. Kulemin, I don't know what happened to him. He used to be 20 to 30 goal scorer 2-3 years in Toronto, and just hasn't been the same thing. So
I think he only had 22 points last year, something like that.
It's crazy, just nuts. Went downhill, and then they go get Mikhail Gorbaczewski from the Washington Capitals on a 4-year, $20 million deal, which works out to $5 million a year. So the New York Islanders bolstered their offense. Maybe they think these 2 players, maybe one of them, can play with John Tavares and Michael Del Cole, and they can be a scoring threat. Maybe rekindle and spark back their scoring touch.
Yeah, maybe Yeah, I think Grabowski will fit well there. Kuhlman, I don't know about him so much.
He's very good defensively, though, so
He is very good defensively.
maybe that's what they were thinking. But they bolstered their forward offense after losing Molson and Vanek, bringing in Kuhlman and Grabowski. So
Yep, that'll help.
it's not too bad.
And talking about defense, here's a guy who can play defense and offense. Radim Verbata going from Phoenix to Vancouver on a 2-year, $10 million deal, which works out to $5 million a year, and he puts up 30 goals, maybe 20 to 30, 60 points, and he is a very good two-way forward. He's going to play great in Vancouver on that top or second line, depending where they want to put him. But it's looking good in Vancouver.
I think he'll put them on the top line after losing Ryan Kester. Maybe he's the player to maybe spark the Sedins, like you said, 20 to 30 goals after losing Kessler's 30 to 40 goals. So it's not too bad. He's a proven leader. He's older, but so is the rest of the Canucks top line.
Yeah, the Canucks top line is 33,
33 plus. So, and then next we have Ottawa. Since Spezza left, Stastny wasn't available, so you go get the next best center, David Legwand, to 2-year, $6 million deal from Detroit. And I think that's good because I think Turris showed last year that he can be a top line center in the NHL, and then Legwand can slip into the second line center. And Ottawa really doesn't lose much. They lose a couple of points, more than a couple, sorry, a few points between Spezza and Turris. But David Legwand's older, same age as Spezza, proven leader, proven winner. It's kind of weird seeing David Legwand somewhere other than Nashville, where he's been the last 13 years.
Yeah, I mean, that is weird. I mean, he was the face of that franchise.
Sure was.
And he is a very good hockey player. I mean,
Sure
he
is.
puts up points. And in Ottawa, I think he's going to excel there.
I think-
Big centerman playing with a pretty big team. He's going to play great there.
I think with him and Bobby Ryan, maybe.
Yeah, that would be a good line. Him and Bobby Ryan.
With Mikhailic, maybe they can spark David Legwand from his 30 goals to 20 goals to 60 points. Maybe he can improve to be a 70-point player. And
yeah, maybe. That could be. That might be the spark he needed.
that's for sure. Well, I'm Jay,
And I'm Joe. And this is the NHL Free Agency Wrap-Up.
and that's why we're on the couch, not in the studio. We want to hear from you guys. What your opinion was of NHL free agency. What do you guys think the best deal was? And what do you guys think the worst deal was? You can follow us on Twitter at onthecouchsports or send us an email at onthecouchsports@hotmail.com. See you guys on the couch.